Hey up guys, I'm Mason, the blind wrestling fan. This is Wrestling in the Dark, on this edition of the WITD Weekly podcast. Mustafa Ali admits to being the Smackdown hacker. We've got brand new NXT Tag Team Champions. Roman Reigns reveals the consequences for the I Quit Hell in a Cell match, Hell in a Cell pay-per-view predictions, and more. So click that like button if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe so that you don't miss any in future, but for now, buckle up, have fun, and let's take a look at this week in WWE. So, to kick things off, Mustafa Ali admits that he is, or was, the Smackdown hacker. Not a particularly surprising development, but his admission was one hell of a promo. I actually thought that it was bloody good, man. I really enjoyed it. He talks about the fact that the Fiend, that Hurt Business have made the mistake of assuming that his only power is the strength in numbers, but it isn't. It's creating chaos, that they have no idea how much chaos he can create. He only needs a laptop, a cell phone, a secret, and with one click, he can bring everything down. He talks about the fact that he sat at home and watched the spineless WWE superstars scheming, plotting to backstab each other just to get ahead. The fact that WWE is infecting people with greed and corruption. That good and talented superstars are being forgotten, abandoned, that their dreams are being left to die. And he found them, united them, and promised them that their truth would be heard, and that anyone who tries to stop the truth from being heard will be shut down. WWE doesn't know how to make a buck off of someone called Mustafa Ali. I thought that it was so good. The intensity, this gravelly, dark, brooding intensity that he had, that just reminded me of some sort of comic book villain, like he's Shredder from the Ninja Turtles or something. It just came across as really intense, and I thought it was really good. I really hope that they can get their act together with Retribution, because it was not a good week for them. T-Bar tapped out to Bobby Lashley. They had a tag match, and Bobby Lashley just put the Hurt Lock on T-Bar and he tapped out. And then the Fiend, who'd had a little bit of back and forth with Retribution at the beginning, he came out and he just buries Retribution, just attacks all of them and just batters them. And I'm like, why on earth is this hellish, monstrous, nightmarish creature, why has he got a problem with a bunch of renegade rebel types? They're there, like, raging against the system. Yeah, fight the war, fuck the norm. Just being all rage against the machine and trying to bring down the system. And then you've got, like, Halloween-esque, like, nightmare villain. I just don't understand it. I really don't. It's like if you were watching The Matrix and Neo is like getting ready to take down the machines and wake everybody up, and then all of a sudden Jason Voorhees is there and he's like going after him, or Freddy Krueger comes in and you're like, why is Freddy Krueger in The Matrix? It makes no sense putting them against each other, and I don't know where they're going to go from there. I really hope that this is rock bottom, and from here it's just all the way up to the top, because I really like Retribution. I don't really know why Dijakovic's in there, right? Because he got plenty of opportunity in NXT. He had some cracking stuff with Keith Lee. He had plenty of opportunities. He didn't get forgotten or abandoned. He just seems like the odd one out. Dio Madden, okay, nobody really heard anything off him for months and months. He wasn't really doing anything. Shane Thorne got overshadowed by Bronson Reed and didn't really get any opportunities in NXT. Cool, that makes sense. Mia Yim, not really quite sure why, but again, I can sort of kind of make it make sense. I don't know why Dijakovic's in there, but I don't care. I feel like it's a really cool matchup of names, and with Mustafa Ali at the head, just being this really villainous character with such intensity. I feel like they could go a long way with it, and I really hope that they actually get their act together and start pushing them, because I thought this was really good, man. That promo from Mustafa Ali was just so good, I can't say it enough. And then we get something else, right? Moving on, sort of sticking with Raw though, Peyton Royce. Oh, isn't Peyton Royce great? All the dirt sheets are saying she's gonna get a massive singles push. The management sees big things for Peyton Royce. So they get split up from the Iconics. She's going for a big singles push. No, wait, she's not. She's getting put with Lacey Evans in a matchup, in a mixed. Just why? In just this odd couple tag team that just makes no sense. I don't understand why you split her up from Billie Kay and then put her with Lacey Evans. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are an odd couple tag team. Drake Maverick and bloody Killian Dane are an odd couple tag team. You don't need any more odd couple tag teams. Why put Peyton Royce with Lacey Evans? It just kills me, man. I don't understand. Billie and Peyton were great together. When it looked like Peyton was going to get a singles push and just get slotted into the women's division and maybe get like a match against Asuka down the line, and we might get women's champion Peyton Royce. Yeah, okay, cool. But just to split her up and then just stick her with someone else. That sort of thing is why Mustafa Ali has to have Retribution. Like, it literally, that sort of thing is why Retribution has to exist, because WWE just pinballs around from idea to idea. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, let's split up the Iconics. Peyton's going to get a big push. No, I've changed my mind. Forget it. Let's just stick her with Lacey Evans, and then they won't even get a win. Lacey will just take the pin, and that's it. I don't like moaning about stuff. I don't like being negative, but it's just one of those I don't really understand. The other thing that sort of caught my eye from Raw was Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. Randy was in Hell in a Cell talking about his achievements and how he faced The Undertaker and earned his respect. Drew McIntyre comes down, bolt cutters the door, goes in, and then they're about to throw down, and then Raw goes off the air, which is a weird choice, but at the same time, bit of a cliffhanger, brings up that tension, that suspense. Ooh, what's going to happen? I sort of wish that Hell in a Cell would just open up with them two, as if they've just been waiting there all week. I don't know why. I just feel it's just my stupid brain just imagining that they've just been like, they should just model it so that it's like the exact same shot as at the end of Raw, and just have it so it just like picks straight up and have them have their match. Yeah, some interesting stuff coming out of Raw, but the top thing that really caught my eye was that Mustafa Ali promo. I thought it was so bloody good. Moving on to NXT, there's a few things to talk about here, and there's some bad news for me. Bad news. Yeah, Barrett's on that show, isn't he? That wasn't even on purpose, I promise. Cameron Grimes versus Dexter Lumis is happening on Halloween Havok, and it's due to be a Haunted House of Terror match, which rumours are is going to be a cinematic match. And guess what? Cinematic matches drive me up the wall. I hate them, because it just means that I'm completely left out in the dark with it, because they never have commentary. Man, cinematic matches almost killed my enjoyment of wrestling altogether earlier this year when they were just doing them all the time, and it's disappointing, because you know what, I actually think it's a really good idea, but it's just a shame that because we don't have audio description on wrestling, which I don't understand why. I don't understand why audio description isn't on everything. Subtitles are there, so why don't we have audio description? It winds me up, because Dexter Lumis in this cinematic haunted house match, it's going to be ridiculous, it's going to be hilarious, and I'm going to have to go and listen to other people talk about it, and it just drives me up the wall. It makes me so mad. I wish that it didn't. I wish I could have this zen attitude, which is like, okay, well, I don't get to watch that match anymore, but never mind, I'm fine. No, it doesn't. It makes me want to just punch a wall, because I just don't get to watch that match. And it means that I really want to watch Halloween Havok, which I'll do, and I can watch it and enjoy the matches, because the commentary will probably be good, because Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett along with Beth Phoenix is a pretty good team, but there'll just be this half an hour slot that'll just be like random noises and Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis grunting and all the different weird stuff that happens in the haunted house, and yeah, it's just going to take me out of it, and it's just annoying because I'm going to have to sit there and just listen and be like, what is going on? And so I'm not gonna stick on that. I'm gonna move on. But I just wanted to just air that because I hate it. I really, really hate it. So the Garganos were spinning the wheel at their own house, and it looks like, and it makes sense, it looks like the stipulation for Priest and Gargano is probably going to end up being either a buried alive match or a casket match. Makes sense. Priest is this vampiric sort of character. That works. And it somehow really works with having Johnny there too, because it's such a juxtaposition to his character of this sort of gothic, buried alive sort of match. It keeps spinning the wheel, it keeps landing on buried alive and casket match, and I think that's pretty interesting, and I hope that they do go with that, because there's all sorts of different stipulations, but NXT doing some sort of buried alive match or a casket match I actually think could work really, really well. And I also I really want to hear Vic Joseph just calling the ridiculousness of one of those sort of stipulations. He's got this like serious sportsman voice that sounds like you're watching any other, quote unquote real sport, and he's going to be like, Priest pushing Gargano towards the casket, is he gonna get it done? And it's gonna be really entertaining. As for Candice, she was getting street fight, which is just pretty normal, and she's gonna be able to get Indy Hartwell involved if they do that. It seems a little bit silly for them to advertise the stipulations if that's what they end up being, but I do like it doesn't have to happen with Candice, but if they're gonna have this buried alive casket sort of thing with Gargano and Priest, I like the idea that the wheel is sort of cursed, and it's like, no, I'm just gonna keep landing on this because you don't want it, and this is what you're gonna do, your future's set, and maybe that's just me putting stuff to kayfabe, but I like that idea. Austin Theory got battered by Bronson Reed and he quit NXT, so that happened, and I'm wondering whether he's going to get teamed up with someone else that quit WWE this week, sort of. We'll get to that when I start talking about SmackDown, but I just wanted to mention Austin Theory quitting there. Don't know what's going to come of that, but interested to see. Then we've got brand new NXT Tag Team Champions. Throughout the night, Bob Fish gets destroyed, Roderick Strong gets attacked. Who is it? Who's doing it? It's probably the person that paid off Ridge Holland, right? Because if not, that doesn't make any sense, but it probably is. And then it comes to the main event where we get Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan taking on Breezango, because, Kyle doesn't want to just wrestle on his own or team with one of them, which they offered. And then Pat McAfee comes out, he returns, Burch gets a low blow on one of Breezango and picks up the win there, and now they're the new tag team champions with Pat McAfee. Okay, I wasn't expecting that, and I really should have been. If we actually thought about it, we all should have been like, Adam Cole got attacked, I bet it was Pat McAfee, but I didn't, personally. I'm sure someone's going to get in the comments and be like, I did, I totally knew it was coming. I've known this for weeks now. And but I didn't. I really didn't see it coming. And I think it's actually a pretty good team up. Birch and Lorcan turning heel. That one's good. I actually think that works really well. Them two are just stiff, nasty, brawling bastards. And I think it really works for them to turn heel and start being even nastier than they normally are. Whoever comes up against them in the ring now is just set to be bruised for the next week and a half afterwards, if not more. I like the idea that they were going to team up McAfee and Ridge Holland with the sports link there, but they had to go a different way, and they've actually gone a really decent way. Poor Breezango getting just, I'm not going to say buried, because I don't feel like they were necessarily buried there, but just getting cast to the side, and yet again, they had a potential to sort of become something, and now give it 3 weeks, and they'll just be forgotten, which is a shame, because I really like them, and I wish that Tyler could have a go in the Cruiserweight division, or they could have a singles run, but they're just married together, and nothing's ever going to come of them. But in terms of McAfee and Birch and Lorcan, I think that's a really cool team up. I feel like they need one more person so that they can take on the Undisputed Era, have this 4-on-4 tag match. So I don't know who I would want. Possibly Austin Theory, actually. Because he says he quit NXT, but McAfee could bring him back in and be like, yeah, I'll put you on the right path, I'll show you how to be successful, even though I've had one match. But other than that, I'm not really sure who I would add to that little stable, but I really want to see them add someone in there so that they can have a 4-on-4 feud with the Undisputed Era when Adam Cole comes back. Interesting developments in NXT this week. Moving on to SmackDown, there's actually a couple of things to talk about here. SmackDown is sort of, on average, pretty good these days. There's stuff coming out of it all the time to talk about, and I actually really appreciate that. Let's start off with the sort of least important thing first, right? Shorty G quits WWE, but not really. He's just going back to being Chad Gable. So he gets squashed by Lars Sullivan. He says that he quits. Later on, Adam Pearce goes and he's like, "Are you really quitting?" And Shorty G's like, "Yeah, I quit. I quit being Shorty G. I quit telling the WWE Universe that they can just be whoever they want to be, and if they believe in themselves, they'll be successful." And he sort of says that there's only one man that can step up to the plate and who has this amazing list of accolades, world champion, Olympic athlete, blah 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 blah, and just lists off all of his accolades and just basically says that he's going back to being Chad Gable. So that's interesting. Are they going to team him up with Austin Theory? Theory's already been on the main roster once. Bring him up to SmackDown, put him with Chad Gable. You've not got a very thick tag team at the minute, so having them two team up could be interesting. I mean, it'd be a bit weird, a bit random, but having Gable just go up to Austin Theory and be like, "I know how it feels to be you, I keep getting squashed by people too, let's just team up and take the tag team division by storm, because tag teaming is what I do best." I think that would be pretty interesting. As expected, for Hell in a Cell, Otis has to put his Money in the Bank briefcase up for The Miz. Yeah, he has to put it up for the taking. I don't know how I feel about this, man. Oh, no, I do. I don't like it. I'm worked by it. That's the answer to it. It's not that I don't like it, because it's not like I'm like, I'm not going to watch this because I hate it. I'm just worked by the storyline. I am not one of the people, obviously I don't have the Otis visual, and I'm just not one of those people that's like, "Oh yeah, Otis isn't world championship material, what a freak, I don't like him, he's too funny, he's not serious enough to be the world champion." I just don't agree with it, and I just hate The Miz for being like this. It's just one of them, man. There's so many people pushing for him to lose the briefcase, and I just feel like there's other things that you could do. You can build him up, but this Hell in a Cell thing might be the thing that starts building him up. Yeah, okay, if he cashes in on either Drew or Roman, it's not going to be good news for him. But at the same time, it could make him look like a beast. It could really, it could increase his power ranking and really just make a star out of him. So it's a shame that he's got to put it up for grabs. But at the same time, they could use this to build him up, so that's okay. I think we all knew that he was going to have to put it up, and I really hate this idea that he's not championship material, because I don't agree with the idea that there's a certain type of person that should be a world champion. I think that anyone who earns it and does hard enough work and who they put in the right storyline could be world champion. So it disappoints me that there's so many people that are like, well, look at him, he doesn't look like a world champion. Aaliyah Mysterio came to the aid of Buddy Murphy. Murphy had a match with Rollins. Rollins gave him the stomp, picked up the win, and then proceeded to just batter him with a cane. And Aaliyah is begging she's begging her brother and her father to go and help Murphy, and they're like, nah mate, I'm not going to go help him, he's a dick. And she just runs down, and then because she ran down, Dominic runs down, Ray comes down with the chair, and I think this is a pretty interesting one. I hope that this ends with the Mysterio sort of adopting Murphy. I want them to bring him in and show him what family is. I know that people think that there's like a romantic thing there with Aaliyah and Buddy, and they don't necessarily like that because of the age difference. I personally hope that it's just a friendship sort of deal, and she just wants to show him what real family is, what real love is, and what real respect is, unlike what Seth's been showing him. She's seen this lost soul that's been taken in by this manipulator, this egomaniac, and she just wants to bring him into the fold and show him what actual friends and family can be like. And I just really hope that it ends with, in the end, Ray being like, you know what, come with us and we'll, you can just be Buddy Mysterio. Yeah, I really liked it. I thought that it was a really good way to go. I hope that they move on from this sooner rather than later. I wouldn't be surprised if Seth ends up getting a match at Hell in a Cell against someone where they put some sort of stipulation of like, right, if Seth loses, he just has to leave the Mysterios alone, or if Seth wins, the Mysterios have to leave him alone. Just something like that. Either way. But I actually really like this dynamic of Aaliyah being just a better person than a family. Dom and Ray are like, nah, that guy has been working with Seth, and Seth's been a dick to us, and I don't like him, and I'm not going to help him. But Aaliyah's just like, no, look at him, he's been manipulated, he's been used, and I want to go and help him. And that just makes her a way nicer person than Dom and Ray. Jimmy and Jey pulled a fast one on Roman this week. Jimmy is on the Tron cutting a promo. Roman's presumably watching it. Obviously, I don't know the visual, but I'm picturing Roman just watching the Titantron. Jimmy's cutting a promo, pretending to be Jey, and then he's like, ask my brother, Jey. And then Jey comes and attacks Roman, and they have a bit of a brawl, and Jey hits an Uso splash on Roman and sort of stands tall, which is fine because he's going to lose, and that's just pay-per-view maths for you. But Roman reveals the consequences of the I Quit Hell in a Cell. If Jey says I quit, then he will be forced to take orders from Roman, to acknowledge him as the tribal chief, as the head of the table, and do as he says. And if he doesn't, he and Jimmy and their wives and their children's and their dogs and their descendants are all just out of the bloodline. They're out of the family, they're not allowed round for Christmas, they're not getting Easter eggs anymore, they're not allowed round for barbecues, they're out of the family. And yeah, just sort of what we all assumed was going to happen, but awesome. I really wanted this to be the case. I wanted it to be, okay, when Jey says I quit, he's forced to swear loyalty to Roman and forced to just do what he says. I love the idea that now, over the next year or 18 months or half a year, however long they decide to stretch it out, we're going to have Roman bossing the Usos around, forcing them to do heelish stuff, bad things that they don't necessarily want to do, and you're going to have this dynamic of when are the Usos going to snap, or is there going to be tension between Jimmy and Jey? Is Jimmy just going to be like, why didn't you just acknowledge him as the tribal chief in the first place? Is one of them going to end up enjoying working with Roman and have, you know, maybe Jimmy turn a bit heelish and Jey still like, what is going on? Why is my family going insane? I just think that there's so many different ways that they can go with that storyline, and when they eventually circle back round to Jey versus Roman again, because they're going to have to in the end, Jey's going to either have to just fully turn heel and align himself with Roman, or they're going to have this sort of, he's just going to have to slowly get more and more frustrating and eventually snap and attack Roman and then, you know, pick up the feud again. I just think that it's great, man. You've got to swear loyalty to me or you're completely out of the family. Thought that was really, really cool, and I cannot wait for that Hell in a Cell match now. I mean, I couldn't wait anyway, but now it's just, how did they manage to make this such a good storyline? It was always going to be interesting, but they really managed to add some emotional depth to it, and I just think that they've done such a cracking job, and I've said that every week now for a few weeks, but I don't care, because they've done a bloody good job. Quickly, we'll go through the Hell in a Cell predictions. What will the winner's row be? This one is going to be a really tight pay-per-view. I actually think they've done a really great job building to it. There's lots on the line. The feuds that are going into it are actually pretty heated, and I just think that this could end up being one of the best pay-per-views, or at least one of the best main roster pay-per-views of the year. It ain't going to beat TakeOver 31 in my opinion, because main roster pay-per-views hardly ever beat NXT pay-per-views, but nonetheless, I feel like this could end up being one of the best pay-per-views this year, because there's just all sorts going on. So, we've got Jeff Hardy versus Elias. I feel like Elias is going to come out with the win on this one. Reports are coming out that he's going to be a staple of Raw going forward. Management's really high on him. They view him as a top star. They know that they can give him any amount of time and he can produce an entertaining segment. They're even thinking of shooting him up into the main event scene, so Elias comes out with the win here. Otis versus The Miz with the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line. Oh god, I really don't know with this one. You know, my gut says that The Miz is going to win here. He's going to capture the briefcase. He's going to be Mr. Money in the Bank. At the end of the day, there's so many people that are saying that Otis isn't World Championship material, and you know how they prove that he is? They have him absolutely whip Miz's ass and just come out on top, looking really dominant and showing that he can be serious and going on from there. And I'm going to go with Otis winning here, because I want it to happen, and I know I'm going to be wrong, but I don't want to go with The Miz being the winner, so I'm going with Otis. I'm sticking with my guns. I'm going with my heart, not with my gut. Sasha versus Bayley, Hell in a Cell, SmackDown Women's Championship match. Sasha wins here. She has been on the receiving end. She's been the one that got turned on. She's the face. She's the boss. Sasha comes out with the win. Randy versus Drew, Hell in a Cell, WWE Championship match. I feel like Randy wins here. Reports earlier in the month, a few weeks back now, were that Edge was rumoured to be the winner of Royal Rumble 2021, and he's going to then go on to face Randy at WrestleMania. I don't see them having this current iteration of Randy losing to Drew yet again. It's going to be a shame, because Drew McIntyre is such a beast and he really deserves to have a good run. I don't want to see him lose it, but I really feel like Randy comes out with the win here. And then Roman versus Jey. Roman wins, and Jey is forced to swear loyalty. That is a no-brainer. So we've got Elias, Otis, Sasha, Randy, Roman. That is the winner's row. So jump in the comments section, let me know what your winner's row is and any of your thoughts on this week's topics. That's all we've got time for this week. I'll see you on Monday for my Hell in a Cell review, but for now I'm off, and you should have a good one.